On Sunday, a group of community leaders, organized by Coquitlam Council candidate Harvey Su, came together to express their dissatisfaction with the Westcoast Express commuter train service, which does not fully serve the need of the commuters in the outlying region, due to the fact that the rail line owned and operated by CPR, which need to use the line for their own purpose. Tri-City Community Television was there and brings you this coverage.
I want to thank everyone for being here, media, volunteers, community, elected officials, elected hopefuls. What we're doing today is very exciting and extremely important. And I want to start our time together by acknowledging that we are on the territory of the Coast Salish and recognize those who have walked the lands before us from the Coquitlam Nation. We're here today to raise awareness on behalf of our communities in the Lower Mainland that the province and our mobility partners' transit plan as it is will not come close to adequately addressing the population pressures that we are already facing and are in a critical state. My name is Carissa Bell and I'm running for mayor of Maple Ridge. And in our community, we continually hear from all levels of government that we need to get off the freeway and out of our cars. Thank you. Out of our cars, and our residents spend between 2 to 4 hours in their vehicles away from their families every day, and this just isn't a practical solution that's being offered to our municipality in order to move people and improve mobility. At this point in Maple Ridge, our transit options are not practical and they're often very unreliable. And we're going to hear from Harvey Su, who is the founder of the Westcoast Expansion Plan Association. And he's going to tell us all about how it began and why he's motivated to make this happen and why he's brought us all together today.
Thank you. My name is Harvey Su. I'm today's event's organizer. Thank you for coming out and joining us today in this event, public awareness event and news conference to advocate for the expansion of the WC service. Westcoast Express started its operation in November 1995. 27 years has passed. Not much has changed. It's continued to be a unidirectional service, running rush hour only, Monday to Friday, 5 trains in the morning from Mission to Vancouver, and then 5 trains back from Vancouver to Mission. But the population of the community served by the WC has seen a rapid growth. The population of Maple Ridge has grown from 56,000 people in 1996 to 91,000 in 2021. The population of Tri-City has grown from 170,000 people to 243,000 people in 2021, with a projected population of 400,000 in 2050. So we deserve more. But in TransLink's 2050 Regional Transportation Investment Plan, they TransLink plan to add in 310 kilometer rapid transit. But the only portion, the Tri-City and the Eastern region, got is that 3 kilometer extension from Coquitlam Center to Coquitlam Center. So we need more. We need more reliable public transportation to connect our community together. And we need a better community transportation to support the sustainable growth of our cities. And we want a bigger WCE service to turn our bedroom community into a complete communities where residents can work, live, and play in this community. So today we are here to advocate for the expansion of the WC service from a unidirectional Monday to Friday rush hour only service into a bi-directional 7 days a week, so people can enjoy it every day. So imagine this. So if you want to go to see a Canucks game, Lionsgate or want to go to Vancouver for a medical appointment, or if you want to go to YVR, you can take the WC and leave your car at home. And for people in Vancouver, if they want to enjoy the breweries in Commuter, the Barge Lake in Coquitlam, or want to go hiking in Mission, they can hop onto the WCE and without driving. So we are proposing a pilot program to expand the unidirectional service in the morning and in the evening by adding 1 to 2 hours each, and hopefully running it during the public holidays and weekends. And if it is impossible to expand the service hour in the entire route, we can start a test. We can have a train running in between Vancouver and Coquitlam to test out, because in Coquitlam we have a big track yard, so we can park our WC train there. And thank you for coming out today. I'm so happy and I'm so proud to see so many representatives from the 8 cities served by the WCE. We need collective effort. We need to push hard on the provincial government to push forward this WCE expansion. And together, I believe, together we can do it, and we will do it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Next, we're going to hear from Mayor Richard Stewart. We're very grateful to have him join us today. Saw him right up on his bike. Avid cyclist. Welcome.
Thank you very much. And Krista is slightly wrong. While I cycle every day, I didn't get to cycle here because of my schedule. Today is, I was at the Coquitlam Public Library down here, and I have another one right after this. But it's truly great to be here with you all. People are passionate about public transit. When I first ran for office, it was primarily to break the logjam on that line. The Evergreen line, the Nevergreen as it was called at the time, had been in the works for 25 years, and we just couldn't get there. We managed to work together as communities right across the region in order to have that happen, because that is a game changer. Rail transportation is a game changer for a region, for a community, and it really does allow for the protection of livability, the protection of our mountains and our agricultural land, because we're able to essentially allow development in pockets around stations. So Harvey's been in my office a couple of times. Well, we've had long conversations many times, and I truly appreciate the passion that he shows for rail transit. I don't know if it's possible to get an expanded line. This line doesn't belong to TransLink or to Westcoast Express. It's a CP line. It's primarily for freight. And there is, among the challenges that we have in this region, we really need to continue to invest in all kinds of transit options so we can get people out of the automobile. And I know I've taken Westcoast Express just as recently as last week, but many times I meet people that I know climbing onto Westcoast Express, being able to leave their car, perhaps take transit even down to Coquitlam Central, perhaps even get rid of one of the family cars because transit is much more sustainable and it provides so many benefits for our community. So thank you very much for your passion on this, Harvey. Thank you all for your passion on transit, because ultimately, if we can get rid of the private automobile for most of our trips, whether it's a bike, if you can, it's electric assist because Coquitlam has hills, but if you can move to active transportation and transit, life can change and we can really protect the livability of this region. So thank you very much, Harvey. Thank you all. Let's work together on the range of transit options that need to be contemplated and really need to be a priority for this region, because this region can do it well. We have seen urban sprawl in Calgary, urban sprawl in Houston, all around North America. Cities get bigger that way. And in those single-family home neighborhoods, there's no way to run transit cost-effectively. Rail transportation, bus rapid transit, all kinds of transit options open up. when we can focus on creating a compact urban region that's well supported by transit. So thank you all for being here. I'll abandon the microphone. I see someone else, so I know that other people will be speaking. Thank you, Carissa.
So Mayor Brad West from Coco has had his schedule change. He's very supportive of what we're doing, and in his place while he's at his son's game is City Councillor Nancy McCurridge, here to read a letter on behalf of Mayor West.
Thank you, Carissa, and hello everyone. It's wonderful to see so many people in attendance for a vision that we share, which is an environmentally friendly, more safer, and more practical transportation solution for all of us, that we can access the Westcoast Express. On behalf of our Port Coquitlam's newly acclaimed Mayor Brad West, I would like to share a letter of support for the Westcoast Express expansion. On behalf of the City of Port Coquitlam, I would like to express our full support for the expansion of the Westcoast Express. The City of Port Coquitlam is home to a community of over 61,000 people located in Metro Vancouver. And on the Friday commuter rail train, during which the community it serves has seen a rapid increase in population, increasing vehicular traffic and congestion. So Monday to Friday. The time has come for an expansion of the Westcoast Express to provide citizens with a fast, reliable, and direct expansion to other parts of our region as one part of a robust public transportation system. I appreciate the work being done to advocate for increasing service and join you in those efforts. Sincerely, Mayor Brad West.
And now we're going to hear from Port Moody's acting mayor, Steve Maloney. He's able to come up.
Hi everyone, and thanks for having me here today. And thank you to Harvey as well for putting all of this together and being such a strong voice for the expansion of this rail service. You know, as chair of the Transportation Committee in Port Moody, I understand how important it is to move people not just through the city, but through the entire region. And when we're doing it one person in one car, which is the main way people are getting around and getting downtown, it's just not efficient. It doesn't help the traffic, and it sure doesn't help the environment. We're producing way too many GHGs, and rail, an expanded rail service, will help alleviate the congestion on the roads, and it will help reduce our GHGs. So we have to start thinking outside of the box. I mean, the first train rolled in from Montreal to Port Moody in 1886. So you would think by now we would have an expansive passenger train network, and yet we don't. So we really got to work on this. And in addition to the things I've already mentioned, you know, I'll tell you a quick story. When I worked downtown for years, I used to drive my car. I mean, this was the 80s. Everyone drove, gas was cheap, and to be quite frank, we didn't really think about the environment. I know that sounds terrible, but it's the truth. But after a while of driving downtown, it stressed me out so much that I started taking public transit. And then I just felt great. So it actually has a super positive effect on your mental health. And this is something that everyone is suffering from way too much stress these days. And everything's adding to it. The financial cost of expensive housing, the cost of living, just everything is expensive. So by working on an expansion of public transit, it's going to help so much in reducing everybody's stress, reducing the costs, reducing the GHGs that we're putting out. And we got to really take this into consideration. And we need to come together as multiple communities, multiple cities, and kind of put a little pressure on the higher levels, on CP, on TransLink, and let them know that this is a service that we really need. You know, we can't just sit back idly in our cars idling at stoplights, actually. And we've got to move this forward. It's our future. It's our kids' futures. I have a 24-year-old son. He doesn't own a car. I call him the transit king. He can get anywhere by transit. He regularly commutes to the airport. We're fortunate enough to live in Moody Centre, so we have quick access to the SkyTrain station and the Westcoast Express station. So we're quite fortunate that way. But we have to expand this service so others, our kids, our grandkids, that we're leaving them something valuable and helping with the environment and with their mental health and with all of our mental health as we move forward. So this is really important, everyone. Thank you for being here today, and thank you to Harvey as well. Thanks.
Now I'd like to welcome Ken Harar from Mission. He's a city councillor in Mission. Thank you.
Well, it's nice to be here this morning. I'm from Mission. I'm a city councillor out there, born and raised in Mission. When you think of Mission, Mission is a railway city. The old Mission City. That's where it was a railway route to the United States and to Eastern Canada. So I remember very fondly when the Westcoast Express opened in 1995. And during this time, nothing has changed. The population has doubled in Mission and in the surrounding areas, and the ridership is up. So people want the services. Mission in the next 30 to 40 years is going to double in population. We're about 44,000 right now. We plan to be pretty close to about 80,000, 70 to 80,000. So this service expansion is definitely needed, and I'm glad we're having this conversation because we need it now more than ever. I've only ridden the Westcoast Express a few times, just the fact that the scheduling doesn't fit my schedule. So that's the main thing here. We need to have daytime runs, evening runs, weekend runs. I think that's very valuable. So I think that's a common thing I hear from citizens. And the ridership from Mission does not only come from Mission, but it comes from the surrounding communities like Abbotsford. I think the majority of our ridership is from Abbotsford and Chilliwack. So people park their cars there and they come into the city. So in saying all of that, we would also like our traffic coming eastbound as well. So if the trains can come that way, it expands our tourism in our communities. So I'm all for it. Our mayor couldn't make it here today. I'm glad I had an opportunity to say a few things, and I see the trains sitting there all night long. So I see them. I see them all the time. They're sitting there, and they're beautiful. They're beautiful trains. They just need to be used a little more frequently. So I really appreciate it. Thanks, Harvey, for including me, and hope it all works out in the future here for us. And it'll be great. Thank you.
I'd like to welcome Gwen O'Connell, a city councillor from Pitt Meadows.
Hi, everybody. I can't even believe we're still having this conversation. I remember when we cut the ribbon on Westcoast Express in '95. I was on city council then, and we're still trying to get that train moving. CPR dictates to the Lower Mainland, to everywhere in Canada, who can use their tracks, when you can use their tracks. They don't care what they've done to our community. Pitt Meadows is just in chaos right now because of CPR. We need to get more trains moving or get SkyTrain moving something. We're not the poor cousins on the other side of the river anymore. We're a big population that should be treated accordingly. So I think with lots of voices, and thank you so much for getting this group going. We need to be all heard. And if you can, talk to the people that are running for your city council. Find out what they want to do. Because if they're not going to get involved with this kind of operation, why do you want them there? Don't we want to get out of our cars? Don't we think the next generation deserves to be able to breathe on the Lower Mainland? Thank you so much again for everything everybody's doing. Get out and vote, and have a great day. Thank you.
I'd like to invite Richard Lee, former MLA for Burnaby and a city council candidate.
Hi everyone, from Burnaby, it's not too far away. Your worship from Coquitlam and your worships from everywhere to support this project. I think this is great. Burnaby, we don't have a station yet. I think we should work on that. We know that commuter trains is really efficient in terms of saving on energy, and as well as convenience, quality of the seats for passengers, and the cost buying a ticket is not too expensive, right? And also for tourism. I think this is a good way to promote tourism, to have economic development expanded, and as well as in terms of efficiency. I think this is very important. When I work in UBC in Triumph, on the wall we have 3 words. One is cost, the other one is speed, and the last one is quality. I think the model is you can choose 2, then you have to sacrifice the third. But in this case, for the train, I think all 3 can be satisfied. We have quality seating for the passengers. We have cost saving for transportation. It's cheaper than an Uber, right? That's right. And I was in Toronto just 2 months ago in June, 3 months right now. So I took the commuter train from the center of Vancouver, Toronto, to Markham. So it's really efficient. They have a regular schedule. Every hour almost, they have a train running to the suburbs. So I think this is important for our Metro Vancouver. We are growing, and we have to connect all these suburbs. So I think this is a very good project. I fully support it. I know that if there's a will, there's a way. So I think this is a good starting, and probably not starting since this is over 30 years almost to get this train moving. So I think thanks to Harvey for organizing this. I think this is a great event for us to come and to organize in the future. Thank you very much. And happy Mid-Autumn Festival.
And thank you, Richard. And actually, Burnaby's Mayor Mike Curry, he's going to meet me, and he's going to support us, keep us supporting them. So he's in full support of this.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Good. Thank you very much.
I entirely agree. When there's a will, there's a way, and the passion that's behind this association and from the public, we're going to move this dialogue and this conversation forward for all of our municipalities, and I find this just so exciting, the work that we're all doing right now. Next, I'd like to welcome up Angelina Apadore. She is an NDP leadership candidate.
Hi everyone, I'm Anjali Padarai. I am running for BC NDP leadership. I have a special personal connection to this place. I grew up in Coquitlam, and so I'm thrilled to be invited here for the good work of the Westcoast Express expansion project. I remember as a young person when the Evergreen Line was approved, and how much that meant for me as someone in my early career to have that improved access. And there was a time where I was living in Coquitlam and my office was in Kitsilano, and the Westcoast Express was my commute. And I know how much of an impact that had on all aspects of my life, and so I'm grateful for this project. And one of the hallmarks of the campaign that I'm running, and my work experience as a climate justice advocate, is advocating for more of this. We know that as the climate emergency accelerates, it puts strain on all parts of our economy and all parts of our lives, and we need to rise to these challenges at scale, and that will involve transformation across all parts of our economy. And part of it is improved, electrified, rapid transit like the Westcoast Express. We want to see that across the province, across every community, between regions, connecting our communities and making us more prepared for the future, and breaking the hold of car culture, keeping us connected, and essentially keeping us prepared for the challenges that are to come. And so the effort that it took to approve a project like the Evergreen Line needs to be fast-tracked to meet the challenges of the future. And so that's why I really support the work that's happening here, and I fully support the expansion of this project. I know it will mean so much to people like me, and we've heard from the councillors and the candidates before me that there's a massive population shift happening across the Lower Mainland right now, and that's something that we need to prepare for. And so we know that when we have rapid transit that's at low cost to regular folks, it improves life for everyone. It makes our communities more complete, and it prepares us for the climate emergency. And these are all net benefit outcomes. So when we meet the climate emergency at the scale that's required, we actually produce better outcomes across the board for people's lives. So I'm here to support that. It's very aligned with my work, and I thank you for the good work that you're doing.
Benjamin Perry he's a candidate for the city of Coquitlam, and he's also a member of the board for Force of Nature. I'd like to welcome Benjamin up, please.
Thank you. So my work with Force of Nature for the past 7 years, we've been working to solve climate change, and we've focused a lot at the city level. I'm happy to be here today with a diverse group of people from across the political spectrum on something that we can unite around. Trains are a practical solution to many of our problems, including climate change. So one thing I'd like to say is that emissions is one of the important reasons that we should make it possible for people to choose to live without a personal vehicle. When we allow people to make that choice, we do things like reducing traffic, we reduce climate emissions, but we also make it more affordable for people because they can make the choice to not spend $10,000 to $30,000 on a personal vehicle every year. I'm really excited about trains. Trains have the power to unite people. The Westcoast Express connects people from Vancouver, Burnaby, Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam, Pitt Meadows, Maple Ridge, and Mission. It also connects diverse people across the political spectrum, like I said. And I'd like to say thanks to Harvey Su for starting this association. I think the just transition is coming around the mountain, and the trains are going to be leading the way. Thanks everybody for coming today.
MLA for Port Moody, Coquitlam, Rick Blumack is going to say a few words for us.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here today. I actually didn't intend to speak. I just heard that this event was happening, and I wanted to come out and hear from the people speaking here today. I think I'm the only person speaking who's not running for election here. So it's great to hear so many voices from Mission to Maple Ridge to Pitt Meadows to Coquitlam, Port Moody, Port Coquitlam. Trains bring people and communities together, and that's what we like to see. I've been working on high-speed rail from Vancouver down to Portland. It's a very important issue that our government is working on with Washington in my role as Premier's liaison to Washington State. And it's so important, public transportation is so important because we know that the transportation sector is such a major contributor to greenhouse gas emissions worldwide. And we've been doing a lot of work at the provincial level with Clean BC. We've been incentivizing electric vehicle programs and in fact mandating a minimum percentage of electric vehicles being sold as we move into the future, and we need to do more. We are leading North America right now in electrical vehicle sales and in a lot of other areas, but we always need to do more. And I'm very excited to be able to do that. I'm going to take what I've heard here today, and I'm going to talk to David Eby and share the message that I've heard here today. I know David is very interested in public transportation as well, and you can count on me being here and hearing you today that message will be conveyed to him going forward. So thank you so much, everyone, for your passion on this issue.
Thank you for saying that you're going to take everything that you're hearing today, Rick, to the province to have our voices heard. That's what today is all about. So grateful that he has been able to join us this morning. Next, I'd like to welcome Eric Minty. He's a council candidate for the city of Port Coquitlam, and he's also a member of the board for West Coast Climate Action.
Well, this must be a really important issue with all these politicians on the first day of the campaign period out here today, right? We'd like to be out campaigning, but we're out here because this is such an important issue. And I instead of sharing, like, because I could share my experiences with the Westcoast Express, and it's something I've enjoyed over the years. And we've heard that. We've heard about how important, how important trains are and improving our transportation infrastructure and providing options for people. But instead of that, I'm going to ask a question to my fellow candidates. But to lead into that, you need to understand a little bit about kind of how the election process works. And what happens is when you get into this campaign period, you get questions from community groups and things like that. You have to field and come back. Some of them do interviews and whatnot. And the West Coast Climate Action Network supports over 200 climate action organizations across BC. And one of the ways that we're supporting them is we provided an information package, and I helped to create that, to our member organizations that helps them to vet and identify climate champion candidates and to help them sort of get past some of the greenwashing and things like that. So we provided them with a list of questions. And so you all standing here today may get some of those questions from your climate action organizations in your community. And I'm going to give you a freebie. So here's one from our book. How would you prioritize improving alternative modes of transportation in your community, such as active transportation, public transit, and car-sharing co-op cars, etc.? So you get kind of a free answer just by being here today and demonstrating your commitment. So thank you for that, for being here, demonstrating that commitment. Now, specifically with the West Coast Express, we know there's challenges. We know that there's negotiations that need to happen with CP Rail. There's an expression that I hear coming up from Poco City Council and staff all the time, and I'm going to repeat it here. If we work together, collaboratively, I'm confident we will find a way to yes. So I'm going to leave you with that.
I agree. We are leading to a yes. Next, I would like to invite Kyle Miller from BC Destination. Yes. Hi, welcome.
Thanks, everybody. My name's Kyle Miller. I'm a resident of Coquitlam. I've been here for about 20 years. I live up the hill. I've been riding the West Coast Express for probably 15 of those years. It's a beautiful service, or a great service, beautiful ride, spectacular along the Burrard Inlet. I'm also on the board of directors at the Railway Museum of British Columbia, and I come from a railroading family. I've ridden trains my whole life. I met Harvey. I was boarding here one morning, and he was talking to a friend of mine who was getting on the train, and my friend Frank said, "Oh, you need to talk to this guy. He knows about trains." And so I saw Harvey, and how do you do? And he's leading a West Coast Express expansion. I said, well, that's great, sign me up. So in all the years that I've taken the train downtown, I've kind of marveled at the fact that the trains sit there all day. And we all wait for the train, and when we get back on at the end of the day, we take the train back home. And I've always thought, why don't they run the train out and back at least once or twice and make a round trip? And I thought as well, the infrastructure already exists. The tracks are there. Yes, there's the issue, of course, of CP trackage rights, but the infrastructure is already there. The equipment is already there. The crews are already there downtown. It makes sense to make use of the equipment to run it out and back at least once or twice a day. When I first moved here, Klahani, Suterbrook did not exist. None of these big towers existed. And there's at least 10 or 20 or however many more. And by the way, I'm not standing for election or re-election either. I'm just a member of the public. So I see the amazing growth that's happening here, and I see a service that's very viable as it is right now, which should be achievable with minimal, hassles that come along with trying to build a new infrastructure or build a new service. So I support the fact that the West Coast Express should be expanded to support all the growth that's happening here. I mean, running the West Coast Express is it's logical, it's reasonable, it's practical, it should be cost effective, and with the density here, it seems like a no-brainer. So thanks, Harvey, for inviting me here today. It's great to have a groundswell of support for this. I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
So that concludes our list. I just wanted to conclude by saying thank you again for being here today. We ask the public in all of our communities to support us in this critical dialogue. We have a survey that can be completed that will help us collect data for the province, for TransLink, for WCE, and for CP to see that the expansion for WC is absolutely necessary. Our traffic all over the Lower Mainland is at a critical state, and something has to be done. So again, thank you. Check out the survey at wceea.ca.